Hello everyone again. How are you guys doing? So this is the second episode in the series of self-love, the real self-love. So in the end of the last episode, let's recapitulate a sentence which was about how to love the being inside. We left with that word. You must have pondered over, contemplated about what was mentioned last time, about that being which really needs to be loved. We have been loving our body throughout our life, focusing on our body throughout our life, taking care of it, buying things for it. But now it's time to look at the being, the soul, the energy, the vibration, whatsoever you want to call it, the emotions, the feelings. There's an entity which is living within this body, which is the owner of this body, but needs more attention than the body now. So let's focus our attention completely on this being inside. And let's understand one thing, that no matter whatsoever kind of investment, whatsoever kind of things, equipments, gadgets, whatsoever we might want to fill our life up with, to bring happiness, to bring about that emptiness to be fulfilled by these kind of gadgets or things, it's always going to be a state of emptiness which is going to be filled by us at the end of the day. Right now, if you look at your own lives, you might say, well, I don't have so much in my life. Well, if you see, even if you don't have so much in your life, all the things which you have around you, are you content? Are you feeling that feeling of contentment or not? If you're not feeling that feeling of contentment, let me tell you one thing. Even those people who have everything around them are still not content. A majority of them are not content. And the main reason why they're not content is because the whole focus is on taking care of bodily needs. We have been taught since our childhood this kind of understanding, that anything which I do for myself or do it for others on the outside platform, on the outside plane, is going to help me out and going to help them out to feel happy, to feel content, to feel complete. Now, how do we address that emptiness within? So, the emptiness is there for a reason, because we're trying to fulfill our life with not just the things around us, even the people whom we come across in our life. We are seeking them to fulfill that emptiness. We are asking them, we are wanting them to fulfill that emptiness. You must have seen those very common words in the society, in the books which we read, even in the movie theaters, the cinema, the tube, the media. When we are dependent upon someone, we use these particular words. You must be knowing them very well. We use the word, he or she completes me, or he or she compliments me. You see, completes me, compliments me. It can be taken as an appreciation for the other person if it is done with no attachment and no dependence. But the same words can have a different meaning when we are doing it from the point of view of attachment, when we are doing it from the point of view of dependence. If somebody has the power to complete me or compliment me, that means I'm always going to feel empty if that person leaves me or if that person is not around me tomorrow. So dependency on things and people is one of the main reasons why majority of us are not able to love ourselves or love the real ourselves. Not just we depend upon them to compliment us on a physical basis, that means compliment us on how we look, what we wear, what we have around us as things. We even depend upon people to compliment us on our qualities, on our talents, and our strengths also. So if I am a person who doesn't know myself, hasn't spent time knowing myself, knowing my strengths, knowing my qualities, knowing my talents myself, then there is a gate which is open for anybody to come in and tell me who I am, what I am, how I should be, what I should be doing, how should I be living my life. And this is where the attachment and the dependence starts. And this is kind of a slumber in which a lot of people are living. In India we call it the Kumkaran effect, where I'm sleeping in deep slumber. I only know myself on the basis of how people perceive me, how people think I am. And it's time to rise up, to come out of this deep slumber. If it's not now, then it's never. One thing I need to realize, that the paradigm has to shift. I have to take the power back in my hand, and this power belongs to me. I have let it out, I have let it go, I have let it slip out from my hand to many other souls. And not just that, some of these souls know that I have got this weakness, and they want us to be dependent. They want us to be attached to them. We can call them energy suckers, energy drainers. They are not wrong in doing so, because some of them don't even know that when they are validating us and they're getting that kind of validation back from us, it's a complete cycle, vicious cycle. They feel validated when they validate us, and seeing us dependent upon them, they feel validated. So it's a vicious cycle through which everybody in this world is going. We can't blame them too, because again, it's a lack of self-esteem. It's a lack of knowing the self. Many of the people in this world are depending on others' appreciation, others' validation. And the reason why something like this is happening needs to be addressed, because it's a very low stage of consciousness. We need to rise above this stage of consciousness. We need to think about, what exactly is my purpose in life? What exactly are my qualities? What exactly are my talents? What exactly are my strengths? And I need to ward off. I need to close down all the doors. Be with myself, which we can call it as a meditative process. Spend time with myself. Go and understand what strengths and weaknesses do I have. Address them. Instead of letting others address them, instead of letting others tell me my strengths and weaknesses, I need to know myself. I need to know which part of me should I love, which strength should I love, which talent should I love in me, which quality should I love in me. And this love is not a selfish love. This love is not an impure love. This love is not full of ego or pride. This is a love of pure understanding. Because these qualities have not been attained from the world out there, like the things which we attain, like the physical beauty which we attain from our parents. It's been attained from the world out there, right? Many of the things which we see around us through our eyes, which we touch today, have been attained from the outside world. But these qualities, these strengths, these powers, let me give an example. Quality of discipline, quality of loyalty, royal behavior, quality of humility. This is something which can never be bought from anywhere in the world out there. It is something which we either have, are born with, are gifted with. We have not lost it along the way by practicing opposite qualities to them, the negative side of these qualities. We have not lost them, we have not suppressed them. But we have it within us. Each one of us has it within us. And this is something which we should be proud about, but in a pure way, because it is nothing to be compared with. I cannot compare myself with anybody on the basis of humility. There are percentages, there are degrees, but then I cannot see it through my eyes all the time. All I can see is the physical attributes, the physical attainments. But now I need to go within myself. I need to go within the soul that I am, and I should look for these qualities, these talents, these strengths which I have. To have the strength to face situations, to have the strength to tolerate people, to tolerate comments which come towards me, or tolerate things which I like or dislike, which actually are deciding whether I love myself or not. So sometimes in our life, let's go back to our childhood. So the inner being's journey, the soul's journey, starts right from the birth. Many of us listeners might believe in rebirth. Many of us don't believe in rebirth. That's fine. Let's look at the present time. And those who believe in the rebirth, they'll understand what I'm talking about. A soul is a combination of a mind, an intellect, and habits. Be a combination of these three immortal, indestructible, imperishable energies. Mind is immortal, intellect is immortal, and habits are immortal. Do you agree with me? Isn't it? So when these three aspects are immortal, then I, the soul, have been going through this journey from my childhood and even in my previous birth also, being an immortal being, taking rebirths. Well, at the moment, let us look at the present birth. As a child, my gates are open. I am ready to be loved, ready to be accepted, ready to be appreciated, ready to be taken care of. I live on the basis of my parents' care. I live on the basis of the people around me and their care. What I am surrounded by, things and people. They have the first initial impact on my life. At that time, I'm the most vulnerable being because I don't have so much of experience with me. I have not lived my life so much. I have taken birth right now. But yes, I am born at that time with a lot of purity. I don't have anger. I don't have greed. I don't have ego. I don't have jealousy. I don't have lust and many more other aspects in my life. I'm a pure being. Haven't you noticed that in a child? So you were that being. Even I was that being when we were kids. And then the input started coming into our life. We were made complete, or we were complimented by our family members. There were words which uplifted us, and there were words which depreciated us. There were words to put us down, and there were words to uplift us. Now, depending upon the kind of family which we were born in, or the surroundings which we were born in, either we have taken those words which uplifted us, kept them as most precious jewels in our lives, and we have made up our life. Many of us will believe and accept that yes, I am what I am because of what my parents and what my family and what my surroundings taught me. And they taught me the good things. They gave me strengths, they gave me talents, and they spoke only about my qualities. But some of us are not so lucky. Some of us have gone through a life in which we have been told things. For example, you're not good enough. You'll never be able to do well in life. Your whole family was like this. Your father was like this. Your mother was like that. Many of us are born in broken families, where it's a struggle to even search for the self-identity. Who am I? To know the self is very difficult. And the whole thing which we know, as you know, the whole persona of a personality is dependent upon the aspects, the bodily, physical aspects and attainments on a physical level. So that soul is lost from childhood itself. Some of us are lucky. We go through a life's journey in which our surroundings are good. Some of us are unlucky. We don't come across those kind of people. We don't come across those kind of souls. We don't come across those kind of parents. But never mind. Now is the time, since you're listening to this knowledge, maybe this is the time to understand that I need to go within. I have spent my life looking outside for answers. I need to look for answers within. I need to look for answers and strengths within myself. And I need to address those thoughts. I need to address those belief systems which have been created from the time I was born. Those things which were good, they were wonderful. But there were things which were belittling me. There were things which were said which were putting me down. And maybe They have made house. They're still living in my mind somewhere. And they are those scratches, those scars, which are still hurting me at the back of my mind. I don't recognize them, don't realize them. But the value of the soul is diminishing because of that. Just like when comparing a physical body, having a scar or a bruise, immediately that being, physical beauty, if that person is in a talent show, a physical beauty talent show, immediately that person's beauty level or the bar falls down because of that scar or that mole or that bruise. Similarly, over here, when we come towards the spiritual side, regarding a soul, the same scar, the same bruise is what we were told from our childhood. That pure child, the pure soul, now was exposed to the harshness of the world, to the depths of the dungeons, to the words, to the experiences that have molded us today. And you would accept what I'm going to tell you right now, provided you have gone through those experiences, that many of us are still living with those beliefs. And those beliefs are the ones which are not allowing us to climb up the ladder of life, to rise up to the highest levels of our existence. So this inner being's journey is very important, because this decides whether I'm going to seek love from outside inwards, or whether I am going to be a fulfilled person, a soul, who's going to be giving love from inside out. Now there's a huge difference between this. And majority of us are living in a world where everyone is expecting love from outside in. Imagine how many of us are there who are ready to give love from inside out. So you can understand the condition of the world at the present time. The reason why the love from outside in has become an expectation, and the reason why the number of cases of separations and divorces and family separations, be it a parent-child or spouse separation, is happening in this world, because everybody is seeking love from outside in. Everybody is seeking for that validation. Everybody is seeking that conditional love, where we say you complete me or you compliment me. Imagine being dependent upon somebody, having our doors open just like that vulnerable being even today. That small child, like maturity in us even today, where we are still seeking that love and compliment and correction and completeness from somebody else. When are we going to learn to love ourselves? When are we going to close those doors and be with ourselves, sit in silence, gain the power back? It is time actually to say to the world, acclaim to the world, that I want my power back. It's not time to ask them to give my power back. For sure, I had given them the power to decide how I feel, what I think, what I do, how I behave, on the basis of how I make them feel, on the basis of if they give me appreciation, if they give me any kind of upliftment, I either become dependent upon them or attached to them. So that dependency, that attachment was giving away the power. But now it's time to take that power back. It's time to love myself. It's not time to revolt. We say success in this world, we say success is the best revenge. But spirituality doesn't teach us revenge. Spirituality is all about the journey of being in peace, being in love with the self, being in love with the surrounding. It's about being able to give out. How can I give out when I am in a mode of revenge? Every act, every action which I take today, if I am in the mode of revenge, it is going to create even much more turmoil within me. Because again, I'm seeking that validation. I'm seeking that compliment. Once I succeed, I'll be looking into those people's eyes that, see, I'm successful. I've taken the revenge. Now what? Validate me again. I'm better than you. When is this validation going to stop? When is the seeking of this compliment or completeness going to stop from the outside in? It's time to stop it. It's time to live the life again. It's time to live a life of completeness. It's time to stop complaining when they don't give me the compliments or the validation. When I'm complaining, it's a sign that I'm dependent, that I'm weak. But I wasn't weak. I was pure. I was complete when I was a child. I was happy. I did not have those emotions of jealousy or hatred or comparison or competition with anybody. I'm the same being, just that my physical body and my organs have increased in size. That's it, because of what I've been having. But the soul within is still the same. We usually say this word, I might be old from outside, but I'm still young from inside. What does that exactly mean? Whom am I pointing to? Am I pointing to that being? To that soul whom I'm addressing as is still young? Exactly. Youth is in a person who's stress-free. Greed, jealousy, hatred, looking for validation, low self-esteem, low confidence does not exist in a pure being, a complete being. The reason for stress. If I am young within through my thoughts, I'm young outside. You must have seen a lot of people who are looking young from outside. It's not just the exercise which they're doing, it's the mental exercise, it's the level of the emotions which they have, which keeps them younger. They look young even if they have aged physically, because the soul inside is on a purer level. Might not be 100% purity, but the level of purity is still there. They know their boundaries, they are self-validating, they're self-approving, they have high self-esteem, they have high self-value for themselves, and they have stopped seeking some point in their life. Either they never learned how to seek from outside, or they stopped seeking that validation from outside. They stopped seeking dependency. They stopped seeking attachment, because they knew nobody is permanent in this world. Look around you, your family, your parents, your spouse, your children, even you yourself. If you leave this body today, are you going to leave somebody dependent, attached to you, so much so that they'll find themselves vulnerable and weak? Because it's a double-edged sword over here. Either I am making them weak by validating them, by boosting their confidence level all the time, or I am teaching them to become independent, teaching them to learn the art of validating themselves, teaching them to learn the art of real self-love. Am I empowering my family members, or am I disempowering them? Am I empowering myself, or am I disempowering myself? It all depends upon how do I want to live my life. I want to live my life in the state of emptiness, leave others also in the state of emptiness, or I want to be empowered. I want to live in a state of completeness. I don't need anyone to complete me or compliment me. The journey of this form of awareness, of real self-love, starts with one aspect only. I need to address all those belief systems which were generated or put into my mind as seeds, which have got deep roots within my mind today, have become my belief systems. I'm not good enough. I've done nothing in my life. I won't be able to do good because my family, my parents, my backgrounds are like this. I need to catch hold of all of those belief systems, and that can only happen when I'm in a state of deep meditation, when I'm looking within, when I'm looking into my past, present, because my future depends upon what's happened in my past, what seeds have been sowed in my mind in the past. So I need to check how deep are the roots, how high are the trunk and the stems and the leaves. My experiences are an example of that. They are life practical examples of how I have been living. I need to come back and trace back to those belief systems, because a lot of things which I'm feeling today, a lot of things which I'm been expressing today, have come from my own experience too. I sit in meditation every day and I look back in my life as a detached observer. A detached observer is a being who's looking at a movie. You are not acting into it, you're just observing. You can comment about how the actor should have been, should be, or can be, but you are detached. You're not coming into any kind of emotions or feelings towards that actor. So I look at my life as a detached observer in my state of meditation, without coming into feeling. Feeling means not blaming anybody, not putting the responsibility onto anybody, because that's again a sign of weakness. I'm going to talk about it later on. So not putting any blame on anyone, not holding anybody else responsible that you are the ones who told me these things and those are the reasons why I have those belief systems. No, no, no. First of all, I have to take responsibility. I have to accept that yes, at this present time, I have a choice and the strength. I want my powers back. And powers can only come back when I stop blaming anybody, putting anybody responsible. I have to take my powers back at this point of time. And that comes with acceptance that my power is in my hand. And when this realization happens, I can now forgive them. So let's do a small meditation, step-by-step form of meditation. So I'm sitting in a very quiet location. As it is a lockdown time, we have all the time to be in quiet right now. Even those people who are with their families and children can spend time on their own separately. This is a time, a gift I would say. Lockdown is a gift for many of us, provided you detach yourself from the financial burden and issues you're going through right now and just look at the being within and detach yourself from those moments and the situation of lockdown. Then you can realize that now I can sit down comfortably. I can be in a state of meditation for a few minutes. I can look within myself, go towards my childhood. Let's rewind my reel of life and recall those sentences, those words which were spoken. Must have not meant anything that time. Maybe I ignored them. Maybe I felt hurt a little bit, but I did not address them as non-necessary at that point of time. And they really made home like a virus in my mind. You see, this virus cannot even be seen through the lens. The virus of the mind, a mental virus. We can see the other viruses for sure. But this virus has to be seen with the mind's eye. I have to rewind back. I have to check which virus has actually been in my mind for a long time. Maybe after many years, this is the time when I have to sit in quarantine for my mind, for the soul. We are sitting in quarantine for the physical body, but this is the time to sit in quarantine for the soul. I have to go within, check those viruses, make those vaccines within my mind. I have to forgive those who have given me these viruses. I have to forgive them by thanking them, because I am a being now with so many experiences of how to live a life with those viruses. That means I'm strong enough that now I can unlearn living with those viruses and I can learn how to live without them. So this is the time for quarantine and to put the vaccine within through this meditation. So I talk to myself on this basis. I have my whole life ahead of me. I don't want any kind of virus in my mind. And anybody who's given me those virus, I forgive them. And I thank them for the strength which they have given me to live with the virus. I am a stronger being today. I have no blame. I don't put the responsibility onto them for what I have lived my life as, or where have I reached in my life. Because that will be again giving them the power to validate, giving them the power to complement or complete me. I don't want to do that again. Blaming, putting the responsibility to somebody else for my own failures in life is lack of power and lack of love. I want to love myself again, for which I need to take back my powers. I need to stop blaming anybody. I need to stop putting responsibility onto anybody. And now, since I know it is easy to check those viruses, sit down. What do I do now? Right now is the time to look for the light within, to look for those talents, to look for those qualities, to look for those strengths which maybe I have put under the table. Maybe dust has accumulated over them. Maybe I didn't have the eyes of seeing them because I was blaming and putting responsibility onto others for the darker side in me. So I did not have the eye to see those talents, those qualities, those strengths in me. And maybe right now during this lock time, this is the time actually to look within, to see those talents and qualities and strengths, and be in peace with myself first, and then create peace for those. Remove those barriers, remove those hatred, remove those bad ill feelings towards them, and start living my life again. It's time to take my power back. This is the time to take my power back. Because one thing and one thing only, I always tell this to myself. This is my own mantra in life. I need to remember that in the end, on that deathbed, I hope that deathbed is not something which comes over where I'm going before other people. It doesn't come over too soon, but surely it's going to come someday. But in that deathbed, when I'm lying over there, and when I'm looking up, looking at all the relatives, all the friends who are around me, and if I think of blaming anybody and putting a responsibility onto anybody for the things which I couldn't do, for the way I couldn't live my life without any blame, without putting responsibility onto others, when I was seeking for that validation, for completeness, for complimenting me throughout my life, I cannot blame anybody for that. Because at that point of time, nobody is going to take responsibility. And the only thing which I am going to hear back is, well, you had a choice. Don't blame me right now. Because nobody wants to take responsibility at that time. From a person especially who's dying or leaving their body, to be specific. So on that deathbed, do I want to be that person who's blaming others for the kind of life which I lived? Do I want to feel powerless again? Do I want to feel weak again? Or do I want to leave happily, knowing that neither did I allow anybody to take my power away, nor did I take anybody's power away and make them dependent and make them attached to me, so much so that when I'm leaving this body, when I'm leaving this world, they are crying because they don't know how to be independent. They don't know how to feel validated. They don't know how to feel complimented by themselves. I hope I'm going to be that soul who's not going to leave others with crutches, with a walking stick. I'm going to empower them. And I'm going to leave as a soul who's going to be empowered myself. Because that is real self-love. That is about loving the being inside. And a being who's loved themselves very well throughout their life. Imagine when they are leaving the body, which we call as death, how will their leaving the body be? Peaceful, happy, or worried, or tensed, or fearful about how their family is going to survive? Just think about this thought. And then we end this meditation with these thoughts. And this meditation can be practiced any time in the day. You can just recall these thoughts, these moments, that I need to take my power back. I cannot blame anybody. I am responsible for my life, right now, right here. It's now or never. Thank you so much for being with me on this audio podcast. We're going to come soon with the things which we have left uncovered in this topic today. If you have any suggestions, any comments, any questions, please put them down. And I'm sure I'll be there to solve all those queries, answer all of them, and be help for you. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Take care. Bye bye.